WarsawJS.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Umanska. I am the person who stands behind the initiative Team Ukraine Love, and also I'm the founder of the foundation Mama Vdoma. I'm going to be very specific because my topic is about technologies boosting the humanitarian aid. So first we'll have a very short intro, which was made by us, and you'll get to learn about us more. And of course, afterwards, we're going to talk about what we have done, what are our problems, and maybe you would like to join the team and help us tech-wise.
Bad things do happen in the world, like war, natural disaster, disease. But out of situations like this always arise stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So was ours. We established the first refugee reception center in Warsaw, managing 300 volunteers per day. We have supported more than 10 refugee houses all over Poland and sent over 400 tons of humanitarian aid to the furthest parts of Ukraine. So what still can be done? So much. From rebuilding cities and houses in Ukraine, reconnecting families, sending even more crucial aid to Ukraine, to supporting those who will choose to stay in Poland or any other country that took them in. We have realized that NGOs often talk about the bigger picture, making it harder for you, the donors, to fully understand the impact a single donation can have. So let's track Team Ukraine Love support. We have fundraised more than 760,000 euros from more than 9,000 donors. And the most common donation was between 10 to 20. On our socials, we showed you what is possible with a donation as small as 5 euros. We have based Team Ukraine Love solely on our volunteers with little or no NGO experience. And to be honest, I couldn't have imagined a better team. If you're following the news, it feels like the Oscars, Mad, or Heard vs. Dap have taken the front pages of all of the main news outlets. A new, interesting, media-worthy story pops out every day. That doesn't mean the war in Ukraine has finished. And even though the refugee influx has slowed down, the needs of refugees and IDPs are still rising. We need your help to help those in need.
In short, since the war started, I'm from Ukraine. On the second day of war, we have launched the Refugee Reception Center, and where we had to place around 1,500 people. Along with that, we have been working every single day, helping and supporting people all around Warsaw. And later on, we have started an initiative together with Yes Theory, so maybe you know the bloggers, which came down to Warsaw and were filming and creating the content around, which helped us to fundraise around 800,000 euros from more than 9,000 donors. Majority of the donations were coming from the US, and I guess that was something that we were always trying to do, because Polish people were so nice and were so great. You guys were opening your houses, your hearts, and staying all together. Please do not switch my presentation just yet. Thank you. So we have, apart from that, we have delivered around 400 tons of the humanitarian aid to each and every single part of Ukraine and Poland, supported more than 10 refugee centers. And just to explain it one more time, it was all done in less than a month. And recently, from a day to day, we had 0 people, and the next day we had to manage 300 volunteers with the 3 to 4 hour shifts. It was a nightmare. It is still a nightmare, but there is hope somewhere at the very end. And one of the recent things which we started doing, we were thinking of how to make it better and smarter rather than harder. So as I've told you before, my experience was within the tech and the innovations, and the general idea behind was to start slowly digitalizing the process. So the problems which we were facing during our work and our help are practically similar to any other organization. We had to have 2 people to manage 8 volunteers. In other words, we were spending around 20% of the human power for the pure operations only. So like imagine yourself having a team of 300 people of volunteers which you need and you're requiring, and then additionally 20% just to cover up the operations and to manage them, to call them, to make sure they come on time, to make sure that they're coming and they are already aware of what is going to be their tasks. It's something what could have been done so easily by tech, yet such solutions do not exist. Another thing, we have fundraised almost 800,000 euros from more than 9,000 donors. What you do not know, that the donations of around 1,200 people, we had to give back to the GoFundMe campaign, because those are the purely the transactional fee and the GoFundMe fees. And you will say, hey, well, that's interesting. You know, how much more do we have to fundraise? And in tech world, are we not able to actually overcome some of the biggest struggles which are connected to the smaller transactions, even in case they're done for good? This is the problem which we are facing. And I do think that the world can get together to manage this kind of problems, and I don't like problem, this kind of opportunities in the better way than they are currently existing. If you will look around, you will figure out that majority of volunteers which we had, thanks to Piotr and thanks to all of you guys, those were tech people. And we would have like software developers coming and saying, give me that box, I need to move that box, like, you know, etc. Or you know, the VC world, which was literally running up and down the several stairs of our refugee centers, just trying to make sure that all people are in good hands and everything is running smoothly. From the other side, our refugee centers up to nowadays are working with papers. So in case we're accepting new refugees, we're having paper cards where we have to write the names and give them the kind of ID, which is also paper-based. The systems are not digitalized at all, which is bad, which is not right. Of course, we are also talking about the humanitarian aid and logistics. Like, you've heard that there was a lot of help given to Ukraine, but no one thought about actually connecting it to a single individual. This is numbers, and numbers of people are accountable. You're capable of counting the people. You're capable of predicting how much of the actual humanitarian aid needs to be delivered and how much you have to fundraise for that. And in case you're capable of building the bigger, the greater system for that purpose, you're practically capable of fulfilling the greatest need of any single disaster in the world. And of course, we're talking right now only about Ukrainian crisis, but just remember that there are 16 different refugee crises in the world, all along with more than 1 billion of people who need to run away from their houses. Apart from that, we're talking about the volunteers management, the donations management, and understanding that a lot of the organizations, including the biggest one, which you know, for example, Red Cross or UN, they're collecting the donations and they're not dropping down those funds. So normally you would count the efficiency of any NGO, like you've heard it several times, something like, we spend only 1% of our donations for the pure operations only, and the rest is supposed to go to the people and is supposed to go to the cost. But what is happening in reality? They are collecting the huge amounts of funds, they are withholding them for like 20 years, and they're spending quite a lot for the operations. But because they do not spend, the amount of the money which is sent for the operations is always very small. So, the donations itself, the efficiency of the NGOs, this is another topic which you can hit. And budgeting. Budgeting itself, smart budgeting for the humanitarian aid, how to make sure that with the smallest amount of money you're capable of receiving the biggest amount of effort and actually feeding enough of the people. Those are the questions which we have to be aware that they are in the world, whether that's a tsunami, whether that's a war, whether that's another humanitarian crisis. Yeah. So just to make sure that you're like aware of the state in the world in general, and the question is why we do not have the startups which are working on the digitalization of the NGO or digitalizations of any kind of sphere, or they're like heavily, they're very bad. Majority of the people, when they're like trying to solve this problem, they're not looking at the people, at the volunteers, at the people who are actually working on the ground. They're looking at almost, guys, it's $500 billion market, which is given by the donations only. This is huge market. For the comparison, if you will look at, I don't know, the beauty industry itself, it's going to be only around 10 billion. So the market is over there. And normally people would just think about the donations and how to make money out of that and then building startups and building the ecosystem. And here's the question, why it's not a startup, you know? Why you cannot treat it as a startup? It's not a place where you can make your budget or your capitalization based on humanitarian crisis. So my question is to you, whether you would like to join the team to do it for free, to do it for the humanity, and actually we're looking for the developer who is going to lead it. So what we do have is a hell lot of knowledge. We have more than 50 volunteers from 24 different countries who are experiencing all kinds of crises. We have helped over here 2 Ukrainians, and I'm the one, and I'm absolutely thankful to all of you guys who is over here and who is not over here. But also, I think the next step for us will be to sharing our knowledge and spreading it around the world and working within the fast disaster management and prevention. So if you'd like to go with us pro bono, same as all of us are doing right now, feel free to join the team. And I hope we will be able to create a little bit better world. What's the next one? Yeah. This is like practically any kind of project, anything which is coming up to your mind, but this is like some of the ideas which we had brainstormed together with our team. And yeah. Guys, apart from that, as I've told you before, I've been heavily working with WarsawJS and the Warsaw tech community prior the war started, and there was one of the parties which you might have attended last year called Tequila. Who was at Tequila last year? Okay, there are some people. But practically what we're having like 300 developers each time coming together and drinking tequila shots synchronically. It was an incredible event. This time we are trying to make it also this year, specifically on the 29th of July. You're invited to come and join us all. And of course, this time, for the first time, we're going to collect the donations. It's not obligatory, but if you're willing to support us and support Ukrainian refugees, stay connected and truly hope to see you there. Thank you. I wasn't talking about the coding, but maybe there are any questions.
So, Victoria, can you tell us what time requirement do you have for the core developer? Do you have some idea how much hours of work there are needed?
Look, we're doing this project absolutely fully pro bono. We are not, we are rather looking for the person who is dedicated towards creating something better, maybe open source, and for the greater kind of needs. We're capable potentially of fundraising later on and dedicating it as a support and the cause and showing that there is tech community behind. However, we would like to start collaborating on just, you know, figuring out whether there is a match and the person is willing also to take the same kind of steps and has the same values as we do.
Awesome. Oh, Jakub.
Thank you. I have only great presentation and great cause.
Thanks.
I love the idea. I was wondering, because it's a rather tech environment, I was wondering how and did you already decide on the tech stack? Are you using AWS Cloud? Who actually manages this? Is every developer by themselves or?
Okay, so maybe let me go deeper into my tech world. So I'm a business person.
Right, okay.
I have no idea what is going to be the tech stack.
Sure.
So we are having absolutely free place to run, to try, to fail. I can give you like a whole list of the requirements, what things needs to be done, but have no idea, honestly.
Right, cool. Okay, that answers my question. Again, great thing, so thanks for the presentation.
However, maybe like one of the great things to learn about, there is also a company called Omdena, which is providing an AI software for the different causes. They have already agreed to work with us. If we're capable of building anything, we're having a free software AI with the number of more than, I believe, 3,000 developers available worldwide. But we need to work with like basic things like management, tables.
So I guess this is the same question, but I just was wondering as far as resources. I mean, it's an important question, right? So like, do you have a server? Do you have you have to have these? You have to be able to answer these questions, because if somebody wants to work on your project and you're like, oh yeah, you have to pay for all the servers and stuff yourself because you're helping us out.
No, absolutely not. Maybe let me make it a bit more clear. So since the war began, we were collaborating with the top founders and top companies from the US. One of our greatest partners was Cisco board from the States. They're ready to help with any sort of needs and anything practically what we're willing to do. Another part, Google is still expecting from me the information of how do we plan to do this, because they want to go and help. Again, I'm always putting it up front that this is a free project right away. It does not mean that you will need to cover the cost of the project. This is like absolutely normal that this will be on us. Apart from the $800,000 to which we have fundraised right now, we're expecting another $50,000, which will be provided for the sake of this project only. We just don't know where to hit it on, honestly. That's something where I would normally have my co-founder. So I would have Kuba, for example, from our Kratos. He would take all of the decisions, based on the product development, where to put it and budget it out. With me along, trying to run the refugee center and like down-to-earth stuff, including fundraising, I'm just not capable of providing you this information. But if there are money and funds to make it happen, for sure, no problem. That's something what we're capable of fundraising for. Sure.
I volunteered.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I don't know, are you Ukraine? From Ukraine?
Yes, I was born and grown in Ukraine, but in Polish diaspora.
Because normally from the media we know that Polish government helps a lot, and okay. So what is your priority in terms of providing the help for your citizens, for your friends? Is it food or shelter, or to get a job, or?
I mean, there are a bunch of things, and you also can go to my social media. Recently, we have returned from Bucha, where we were seeing like the boxes which were provided by the Polish government, and like thanks to the Polish government one more time. The special modular houses all around the Ukrainian northern parts. Incredible job done. As for right now, we are working on very specific and dedicated causes because it's been 6 months since the war hit. Ukraine has adjusted itself. And of course, we as people over here, we are also trying to adjust our lives. Nothing is going to be the same. There is no way to return to the things which were before, and we're readjusting. However, in terms of the current needs from my organization right now, we're about to ship 3 ambulances, which are right now located in Warsaw, and we're trying to fill those in with baby food and diapers. All of those are going to go to Mykolaiv region, which is right now heavily bombed. So in case you're feeling like buying some stuff and actually bringing it together, I can also send the information. Baby food and diapers. That's it.
You answer my also the next question that how are you sure that this help is provided to the people who needs? So as you said that you will provide the ambulances, etc.
Yeah, so look, all of our needs which we are receiving, we're also receiving in paper-based version, of course. We are receiving, so since the war began, we started collaborating with the Ukrainian government, including the Ministry of Health, including the Ministry of Internal Affairs, External Affairs, and Ministry of Defense. We were receiving the paper-based requests from each region, exactly what they're requesting, and those requests are updated each week. So we know what kind of humanitarian aid we need to deliver. However, no one is capable of telling us exact quantities. So we're just providing it in the best faith, you know. Like dropping it together is like, we hope that was enough. That's it. And that's not good, right? This is something what we have to work on, but no opportunities as for right now. Nevertheless, as I'm saying, I do believe that the biggest crisis of Ukrainian war has passed, or at least is in the process, and it's going to get only better. Anyone else?
I will also ask, you know, we know from media that the buildings are destroyed and the harvest is burned by the Russians, and I will afraid about when the winter or autumn comes, and I'm really afraid how these people will, you know, survive in this environment, this weather, because we have the strong weather, probably, you know, -10 or -20 degrees. When there is the people live in the basement, or so it could be the, you know, the humanitarian, you know, the catastrophe, I think.
Sure. Look, I guess over here it's also one of the newest updates, which you guys maybe don't really know about yet. The Ukrainian ministry is in the process of accepting the law, which will allow every single Polish person to have the same rights as Ukrainian on the territory of Ukraine, meaning that you're capable of starting doing the business, actually being able to build houses by the territory, and have the same educational and healthcare rights. In other words, I guess in this moment we have to look at the crisis and the problems which Ukraine is facing as potential opportunity, including for the Polish business and the Polish people to go over there and actually try to rebuild Ukraine new, not Soviet, with better you know, quality products. And of course, we also hope for the tech and for the innovations to burst in and build houses faster.
Thank you very much, Victoria.
Thank you, guys.